I'm Amanda, and this is Not Your Granny's Quilt Show. Hey, everybody, welcome to today's episode. Happy to have you here. As always, you are the light of my life. um, if you're watching, I got this new cool light in my background and it can change colors, so I'm gonna play with it. But so far, I've just got it to be my favorite color, hot pink. Anyway, I have a superb guest today, someone I have been so excited to just be watching. And she's an artist. She has come from sewing background, sewing garments. She learned to, quilt, and the rest is history. Sarah Spencer, also known as Io the Alien, is a textile artist. She uses paint, fiber, fabric. And if you have seen her latest art, she is making bunches of portraits of people using thread and paint on, canvas and fabric. And they're stunning and I'm obsessed. And I am so excited that she agreed to be on the show because I get to say I know her now and I feel really cool. So, anyway, Sarah is amazing. She's been showing her art all over the place lately. She's Chicago based, but she's from Canada, which is cool. She's also a radio DJ, which I thought was also so cool. So if you're in the Chicago area, you can tune into 107.1 FM Saturday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m. if you want to hear Sarah live. Otherwise, she said you can go to chirpradio.org and look for her DJ schedule and you can listen to old shows, which I'm going to do. I'm so excited. But anyway, we talked about everything from how she got into the crafting slash art slash sewing slash quilting world into kind of where she's at now in her life. And oh, I just can't wait for you to hear it. So let's dive in. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. I told you earlier I was fangirling because your art is just so incredible. So I'm just so excited to have you on the show.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It's like I said, like A, I'm not a big deal. And two, like whenever anybody wants to talk to me about art, I'm always like, yes, it's a pleasure. So thank
Mm.
you.
Yeah, yeah. It took me a few months to like just ask because I'm like scared of rejection, but I was just like, I want to have her on the show so bad. And so that I was like, well, I'll just ask because usually it
Yes.
turns out just fine. So
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Well, you are an artist, as we kind of mentioned, and you go by, I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but Io the Alien.
That's right.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. I'm
yes.
like, is there a pronunciation I'm missing? Io the Alien,
No,
and you do tons of art with textiles and fabric and thread and paint. And as you can see behind you, so much cool shit comes out of it. So,
yes, thank you. I'm calling this my wall of ladies and interesting men.
perfect. I love that so much. Yeah, they're so incredible. So, yeah, how did you get into textile art in the first place? Has it always been a part of your life or?
Um, I would say no. In fact, for a very long time, it was absolutely not a part of my life whatsoever. As a kid, I remember doing a few things. My dad taught me some embroidery and like how to cross stitch, and so I did some of that. And during high school, like I had a block of like home ec where you had to make some PJ bottoms. So I remember doing that. But then for a long time, I didn't, I just had like a corporate job. I was living in Canada, and art really wasn't part of my life for a long time. It was only after, I moved to Chicago, my husband and I got married, and I had our son. All of a sudden, like I wouldn't say I had all this time because I was very busy and tired, but all of a sudden it was like, I had this chance to reinvent myself, and I started taking a sewing class just because I wanted to make my own clothes.
Mm.
became obsessed with sewing. I mean, I was always artistic as a kid. I'll add that into the mix.
Yeah.
But I became obsessed with sewing garments, and eventually I started teaching at a little art school here in Chicago. They had a textiles department, and they
Oh, cool.
offered garment sewing. So I was teaching that. And the cool thing about it was, as a teacher, I got to take the odd free class.
Yeah.
And so I ended up taking quilting, like a traditional quilting class, thinking that I would quilt my own fabric to turn into like clothing and whatnot. That was my
Yeah.
idea. But I started taking this quilting class, and yeah, it was like it lit up this fire. I found it so exciting, and my colleague was like, she could she could tell from those early days. She was like, "You, I have a way of sort of doing things my own way,"
Hmm.
and she's like, "You should check out, improv quilting." So I
Mm.
went down that whole rabbit hole. I learned from some amazing teachers there, and over time, it's sort of combined with my love of painting and drawing and other things have sort of fused in with the quilting technique.
Yeah.
So actually, the textiles thing, it sort of reignited. Getting into textiles reignited sort of my creativity, or the art side for me.
Yeah.
Because for so long, yeah, I didn't really have like what I didn't really have an art practice. I had to like I go to work, come home, watch my favorite show, go to bed, that kind of
Hmm.
routine for the longest time.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was sort of luck and circumstance that brought me here.
Yeah. That's incredible. And to just think that, like, yeah, that it was just like on a whim that you're like, I'll try quilting. And like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just think it's so funny. Like we all have our strange paths to what brought us to where we're at. And I just love hearing about it because it's like, yeah, sometimes it's like, yeah, I grew up with it. It's all it's like I've seen it since
right.
I was a little kid. It's like all I've done,
Yeah.
whatever. And then there's like some people who just like found it as adults and or
Yes.
thinned into it from some other avenue of sewing. And I just I just love it. It's so fun.
Yeah. I mean, if someone had told me 10 years ago, Sarah, you're gonna get into quilting and you're gonna like show your quilts
Yeah.
around the country, I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you're crazy. I would yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. Uh, but yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Oh
So
my gosh. That's so fun. So how, yeah, like how long into that process were you like, oh, I'm making art with this? Like how, yeah, like I don't know. What?
yeah. Um, I mean, it happened pretty quickly. I will say I I am a I'm a very prolific. I produce a lot of stuff. Um, and so even when I was just learning to quilt, I probably made 4 or 5 quilts that are like I've made my son's quilt. I made a few practical things,
Hmm.
but since when I was working with textile, every time I made something, I wanted to push myself a little bit or try something new or like to conquer something.
Yeah.
And very quickly, I found that uh, by my quilt started sort of pushing this boundary of like, well, I don't want someone to sleep with that. Like, do you know how much
Mm.
time I spent on this? Or like, there's some questionable seams over here. Like, if you start washing that, that's gonna come apart. Stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this. So, maybe about a year in, I started taking this. It was an improv course with Sheila Frampton Cooper,
Mm.
another quilt artist and teacher. And she was so clear in her instruction. That her quilts were art. And I
Yeah.
sort of like I just love Sheila. I love something about her energy. So like, hearing her speak, so like authoritatively about her work and like, this is my art. Like why you don't wash a painting, like this kind of speak. And I
Right.
was like, it just was like, yeah, yes, yes. And then that actually freed up, once I knew I didn't have to make something washable, it frees up so many techniques in
Hmm.
terms of like, what or am I gonna apply paint here, or you know, other stuff. So yeah, I found it was very liberating just to kind of say, no, I make art. This isn't intended for use. Not that there's anything wrong with
Right. Right.
that.
And I can imagine because I've had kind of aha moments like that around quilting itself, but also just other things in general of like when someone says something that just like it's like somebody rings a bell and it can't be unheard. Like you
Yeah,
can't unring that bell, right? Like
yeah,
is that a saying? Um, and then it's like everything changes.
yes. It's like you're putting on. You've got this new pair of lenses or glasses, and like all of a sudden you're seeing the world in this like, oh yeah, like this bigger. It just adds another layer onto everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
definitely one of those moments for me.
That's incredible. And had you been like was like traditional quilting, was it feeling stifling in some way, or was it just more of like what else can I do? What else can I do? Like,
Yeah, I would say it was more curiosity driven. I still actually in my studio, which is in my basement, not the most glamorous place, but I love it nonetheless. But on the wall, it's got thumbtacked, like the first block I ever made in like
yeah.
quilting 101. And it was like a flying geese block, and it has some like fun fabric. But like I still love it. Like I still love those quilts.
Hmm.
But for me it was, yeah, it was like I wanted to make something that felt like it was truly from me. Um, I felt like I like because I'm a long time knitter too. I've been knitting
Mm,
for so long, and when I knit, like I follow a pattern. I don't
yeah.
like do any of that. So I felt like this is and same thing with like when sewing a garment. Like I definitely like follow the pattern and la la la.
Yeah.
But with quilting, I was like, this is not. I don't want to follow the pattern here. This is like I want to make my own pattern. I want to see what I can do for better or worse. And there was definitely some like, there was some questionable early pieces and current pieces, but
Yeah. Oh, that's so
but
funny.
yeah,
Because, but I think too, when you find the medium that like is speaking to you and feels like you can express yourself, it's almost like there's no limit to what you are willing to try with it almost to see
yeah,
if your idea works. And you can like let your ideas take on their own life when you aren't afraid to mess around with something like
yeah,
because I think that rigidity of just like I only follow patterns, I only make other people's patterns and like not
yeah,
branching outside of that in itself. And like I used to never consider myself like, oh, I've never done improv, which is horseshit because I've made so many like memory quilts and out of people's clothing and stuff. And I never follow a pattern. I
yes,
just wing it, like make it work. And I'm
absolutely,
like, oh, I've
yeah,
been improving this whole time and I've been discounting myself because I'm like, well, I'm
yeah,
just making t-shirt quilts or whatever. It's like, no, there's jeans, there's suits, there's like there's so much stuff in there
totally, yes,
and there's no uniform shape or whatever. So like I'm not talking about myself, but it's
yeah,
just
you
interesting
do,
like when right like someone said like well you're improv quilting like what do you mean you don't improv you're improv quilting right now and I was like oh my god you're right
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I found improv quilting so therapeutic in so many ways. Like for the longest time, I would say that just in general in life, I was one of these people that I didn't always know what I wanted.
Mhm.
I was always kind of just go with the flow, like just happy to kind of go along. But I didn't have a clear sense of what I liked and what I really didn't like. and sort of going through improv, and you have to make so many minute choices,
Yeah.
like when you're building something, that
Mhm.
you, as you keep going, you start identifying what the things are that you tend to like and what you don't like. So it's like this whole self discovery of your own, almost like a visual language that
Mhm.
happens when you keep doing improv. And like I said, like you look at, like I've got a 6-year-old son, and like children are fearless,
Mhm.
like just with color, with anything. And I,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like they don't think about improv, what's improv and pattern and la la la. They just are going to
No.
start putting stuff together and they'll figure it out. I think so many of us have that inclination to like, well, let's kind of see what we can do. Like you were saying with your like
Yeah.
memory quilts, and putting those pieces of special fabrics together. That's like, it's absolutely that same spirit of like
Yeah.
play and
Mhm.
without a necessarily a following a plan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot to love in
Yeah.
improv.
Absolutely. And I think there just are some things in my life that were so rigid before that I'm like slowly
Mhm.
learning to open up because I think, well, whatever, but there's just like kids aren't caught up in definitions, I guess. Like kids aren't caught up in what to call things.
Yeah,
They'll learn what to call things along the way, but I think it's with the spirit in which we teach them those things that matters too.
yeah,
And so if you're teaching your kid that, yeah, you can put that together. If you like
yeah,
it, that's all that matters.
yes.
And like my mom helped my niece make a quilt. Like she picked all the pieces and she kind of helped my mom design it and ended up making this giant quilt out of all these scraps. And some of the my mom's like, I don't know about some of these fabrics. I'm like, who cares? Like it's so fun. And I
Yeah,
was like, I need to say that to myself more often. Like, who cares? If
yeah,
I like it,
yeah,
who cares?
yes, yes,
You know?
yes.
And it was fully improv. My mom helped her design the blocks and they made it and sketched it out themselves and figured it out. And my niece sewed a bunch of it. And just watching her go through that process of like making her own quilt and deciding what
Yeah,
was in it and what wasn't and where everything was placed and
totally.
just so fun and freeing. And yeah, like that was one of the things I loved about teaching elementary school was just watching kids like just try shit. Like,
Yeah,
and sometimes I was like, I really don't want them to be trying that right now, but I was like, well,
yeah,
I'm here to help them understand how to clean up the mess if they make one or how to, handle the consequences of whatever their choice is. Like that's
yeah,
but I can't like micromanage every little minute because then that kills the joy of them discovering what it is to be a human and make and create. And I feel like we lose that as adults when we
totally.
do our corporate job, go home, make dinner, watch a little TV
Yeah,
to de-stress and then go to bed. It's like, where are
yes,
we making space for creative joy in that?
absolutely. I had a mentor who would say, she had a mantra. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was like when you wake up in the morning, the whole idea what create before you consume. So
Mm-hmm.
like this idea of before and like I'm guilty of this, before
Mm-hmm.
you pick up your phone, start doing the morning scroll and like get sucked into that, like make something, whether it's like writing 5 minutes in your journal or like doing a stretch for yourself, like create, like do some, like create something for yourself before you start feeding
Yeah.
on yeah, the sort of the social media diet and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's something to that about like where do you find that space, especially
Right.
when you have like this really draining scheduled days.
Yeah.
Where do you find the space for individuality and creativity? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's hard. And I think definitely the structure of our society doesn't leave a lot of room for it. So then when those of us who leave that world and step into being full-time creatives, it's like it's hard,
Yes.
it's scary, it feels rebellious, but it's also like this actually feels more normal and natural
Yeah. In some
than,
ways,
yeah, I don't know.
absolutely. But it's also like there's so much, there's like the part that people see, the, creative output. But then there's like
Mm-hmm.
the marketing, the making sure you're, making the social connections, making sure you're applying to the right opportunities. Like
Right.
it's so much hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and to anybody that is considering a creative life, it's so rewarding. And like you say, in some ways, it feels so natural.
Yeah.
But it's also like if you're not ready to like put your shame aside or
Mm.
like your embarrassment aside
Yes.
and just like put yourself out there and constantly do it
Mm-hmm.
and like really emotionally sort of divorce yourself from whatever expectations you have.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not ready to do that, then this is not the field for you.
No.
Like go do your stable thing. But if what you are doing feels important enough for you that it's worth it, then it's, yeah, the best life
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not working corporate anymore, right? Like you're full-time artist and mom and
Yes. Artist, mom, I volunteer. I do a weekly radio show here in Chicago.
mm,
I've done that for the last 7 years, so that it really keeps me connected, I think, to sort of the creative pulse in this, at least in the music world, which
mm-hmm,
does feed into my work.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been really lucky that I've been able to really dedicate the bulk of my daytime to making art and doing all the marketing stuff and like
Yeah,
as
right.
we were mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's it's like stay at home mom plus I don't know
Right. Yeah.
plus an entire business actually. And I can't fully talk about it, but there's going to be some big changes happening in 2026
Ooh.
that will include like sort of a physical space that will be available for the public. But I can't really say anything more yet.
Okay.
But yes, it'll definitely be a full it's a full-time thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So
Yes.
big changes coming for you, and that's exciting. Obviously, we'll have to wait to hear more, but fun
Yeah.
to get a little insider scoop for a minute. And
Yes.
well, that's exciting. And you have a great radio voice. Like as I've been talking to you, I've been thinking like, wow, she's got a really good voice. Like I love listening to you. So that's cool that you do radio because that makes so much
Yeah.
sense.
It's so funny. Like I was telling my son the other day, I was like, when I was your age, like I used to hate my voice as a kid. Like I
Me too.
really, like I couldn't stand it. So you understand, like
Hmm.
whenever there was something that we had to do that involved us either recording ourselves and having to listen back or videoing or whatever, I like physically would like, oh, when
Hmm.
I heard my voice, I thought it was like weird and deep and whatever. Like
Hmm.
it felt weird for a girl. And but no, it's kind of, yeah, it's a blessing and a curse. But now I see the blessing of it. It's like a
Yeah.
trait. Yeah, but you have a great voice too.
Thank you. Yeah, I hated my voice as a kid. I was like, I sound like a boy, like,
Yes.
but I think also I have a brother who's a year younger than me, and people always
Mm,
thought we were twins or like would confuse us if we were talking, like if they couldn't see us. And so I think part of it was just that, like wanting to like separate myself from like my brother and be like, no, I'm a girl.
yeah.
Like I don't want to sound like that. And let me tell you, staring at your own face and listening to your own voice for hours on end while you're editing a podcast will humble you real quick and
Yeah.
also make
Yeah.
you not give a shit anymore. So
Absolutely.
I'm just like, yeah, I sound how I sound. And if my voice was so gross that like nobody wanted to listen, I wouldn't have any listeners. And
Right.
that's not the case. So get over it, Amanda. Like,
Right. 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 And now in the comments, it's going to be like, trolling our voices.
Yeah. And I'll just block and delete because I don't
Amazing.
have time for that.
Yeah, right. I'm sure nobody will.
No, probably not. Uh, I do get, well, not too much anymore, but at first I would get a lot of like, you talk too much. I'm like, on my podcast, I talk
It's
too
a
much.
it's a podcast.
I know.
Well,
I
what are
just thought,
you expecting?
I know. I
What are
thought it
you
was so
tuning
funny.
in for? Oh my
I
gosh.
know. I know. Like, they don't listen. I don't know. Like,
Right. Is this the
anyway,
medium for you to enjoy?
right. It just, it did hurt my feelings for a minute. And then I was like, "Ugh, whatever."
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely, the voice thing is, it's interesting. It's definitely been an interesting journey of like putting myself on camera intentionally
Yeah.
weekly for the last 4 years because um
Yeah.
I've had to get real comfortable with myself, and which I'm grateful for. So I'm sure radio
Totally.
feels similar.
Oh yeah, it was I mean, I've been doing it for long enough now that I can like it feels just normal for me and I'm grateful for that. But for the longest time, I would say it took me about 3 years to really settle in.
Hmm.
But those first, especially that first year, I just had so many nerves
Hmm.
and it was like it was weird because and apparently this is like I've talked to other DJs at the station and we all seem to have the same like anxiety dream of like you have this nightmare where you're hosting a radio show and like all of a sudden it's quiet.
Mm,
Like you can't figure out what button to press or people can hear your mistakes. It's just so
yeah.
public.
Yeah.
But no, it's I love it. I love doing it now. But yeah, it was a weird like getting used to my own. Yeah, I'm getting used to my own voice.
Hmm.
So yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
good. It's healthy. It's a healthy growth,
Yeah. I think it just
acceptance.
yeah, yeah, I think it removes that kind of like fear of being perceived,
Hmm.
which I think a lot of women probably have some of that because we're
Yeah,
told to make ourselves small and shut up and go stand in the corner while us important men do important things and think important thoughts. And we're just
that's
like,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. We're sort of like conditioned to just withdraw
hmm.
from uncomfortable situations
Hmm.
or yeah. So to take up space, um, and even like online,
Hmm.
it's yeah, it's sort of like you're sort of reconditioning or yourself a little bit or like
Yeah.
deconditioning. I don't know how you want to phrase that, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're changing the programming.
Hmm.
So it's yeah, definitely uncomfortable at times.
Yeah, for sure. And I
Yeah,
still have days where I'm like, if I have to hear myself one more time, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna
right,
start a revolution. I don't know.
right.
But here we are. We're
Yeah,
doing the thing, and it's fun and I love it so much. And I think that just really outweighs any of the discomfort of it. Of like
yeah,
I get to talk to some cool ass people and I feel like my life is so much better for it. So it's worth
yeah,
that like moment of discomfort to have these conversations and to share them with other people because like
totally.
this isn't going to happen with every single person you come across, right? Like,
Yeah,
but the opportunity to have the conversation and then get to share it with people is just really like feels so lucky and feels so like such a privilege. So
yeah,
anyway.
and that's how you know you're doing the right thing for you
Hmm.
when you feel like you're lucky to get to do it. Like you get to do it. You don't have to do it.
Hmm.
Is like yeah, that's the yeah, that's when you know you're in that sweet spot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think in a creative business, it can be kind of hard too, because it's like you're the one creating and it solely relies on your physical labor, right? And your physical manifestation of what's in your head. And so I'm wondering if there's like for you any parts of it that you have outsourced or have found support for, like, or do you do everything yourself?
At this point, I do everything. Yeah, everything. Um, I dream about like I dream about one day being in a situation where I can afford like an assistant or something to outsource some of my least favorite tasks.
Yeah.
like binding.
Yeah, for real.
um, but no, I do everything myself right now.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's for the longest time for me too, I was trying to find where my niche was. Like even
Mhm.
within the quilting world slash the art world, like even
Mhm.
that divide there, that was sort of okay. Like I had to make a choice really.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, in a way, like I still am part of both communities, but like how, like, yeah, how do I phrase this? It's like where do I want to focus my energy? Like what crowd do I want to focus on courting?
Yeah.
Um, and so of course there's going to be a certain amount of cross pollination between those worlds, but
Right.
yeah, because for the longest time I found I'm like I don't know, like I'd be curious what you have to say in this regard. But I would put my work into quilt shows or do like QuiltCon or whatever.
Hmm.
And that was always fun. That was always like so nice to have people like, see your work for the first
Yeah.
time. It was great to have eyes on it. But then, especially with me being in Chicago, there's a huge art community here too. And so I would enter some of my work into just like art shows. And
Yeah.
so my quilts would be there next to, sculptures and paintings and totally in a different context.
Hmm.
And going to some of those shows and seeing the reaction from people,
Mm.
like my earbuds fell out. It's fine. Um, but seeing their reaction to seeing a quilt in that context, like they
Yeah.
loved it. I got like it would always tickle me to sort of stand back and like see somebody was seeing my work
Hmm.
because they'd be like, "Oh my God, it's fabric," and like it would just always excite them. And so I ended up leaving with this impression over time that like people that like quilts go to quilt shows,
Hmm.
but people that like just art in all its forms will go to an art show. They might not necessarily go to a quilt show specifically.
Yeah.
So it felt like, and the type of excitement I was getting from those art show crowds, I was like, it really felt like, okay, if I was looking for a sign as to like where where I belong, and I use that word very loosely, it felt like the art world
Hmm.
was the place for me. And also since, I do love painting, like I didn't have to worry about the quilt police not liking that. I didn't have three stitch layers, like only two
Right.
or it's one. Like
Hmm.
it was a little more liberating in that way too over time, but this was like a progression for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Um,
I think that can be the most challenging part of like figuring out where within this huge world of art and, quilting is a tiny little subset of it and its own thing at the same time. Like, yeah, figuring out, I've got 1 foot here and I've got 1 foot here. And like, am I going to play twister with this whole situation and get myself tied up in knots to try to touch every part of it? Or
yeah,
like, where does it feel more, yeah, more welcoming and more open for me to exist in the way that I want to exist
yeah,
in this space? So I can just imagine that, like, that trial and error of like, does this work over
yeah,
here or does it work better over here? And
yeah. And
I think,
ultimately it's something in between for a lot of it.
hmm,
And that's good and that's fine.
yeah,
But when it comes to like narrowing, when I find myself in a position where I am doing wearing all the hats right now,
hmm,
it helps me to like narrow my focus so that I
right,
can, yeah, not be chasing all the carrots or however you want to say
hmm,
it at the same
yeah,
time, like just to focus.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. It's like one less thing you have to like keep making decisions about, which I think as a creator and an artist and a business owner and all the things, like doing all the things, because I'm in that boat too. I do all the things except for the podcast. I do have like editor producer, but that
that's
was
great.
Like
Yeah.
it only happened this year. Like I used to do everything myself. And so like the idea of the constant decision fatigue that we experience as being all the things, it's like when there's certain things that you just don't have to think about anymore because you just
Yeah.
know where that fits. It's like, oh, thank
Yeah.
God that's off my plate.
Yes. Yes. And you tend to know what those things are. Just
Hmm.
like I was talking to another gal over the summertime who is a podcaster as well, and she, just like you, recently outsourced the editing piece. And
Hmm.
she said it just like unlocked so much happiness for her because she didn't realize how much like she was micromanaging, and like she was trying to like have total control,
Hmm.
and sort of just having someone that was, they're going to do a good job, and it's out of her hands. She's like, I regained 5 hours in my week.
Literally.
And it was a very good decision.
Yeah. Yeah. At first I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I can like hand this over
Right.
because I mean, my husband
Your
helped
baby.
me get it started, and my friend Miranda was like a co-host with me at the very beginning, and we kind of launched it together, and then they both were like, it's yours now, and I was like, what?
Right. Goodbye.
Yeah, yeah. And then but you're right, like that micromanagey, like I need everything to be exactly how I want it to be. And
Yeah.
as I, got better, more comfortable and whatever, like I edited less and less. It would just be like to cut out any flaws within like the recording itself, or if someone was like, I really don't want that bit in there, I'm like, sure.
Right. Yeah,
Sometimes I
yeah.
cut myself out because I talk too much apparently. But yeah, just that like nitpicky, like whatever. But then when they took it over, I like took this huge breath and I was like, oh my God, I get my Fridays back. Like I would spend all day
Yeah.
Friday, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
editing, re-listening, listening again, editing more, like creating the content for the social media, like figuring out, like setting up everything to be released at certain times.
Oh
And
my
I still do for like the YouTube and stuff, but like everything's done. Like I don't have to like I can just
God.
plop it in and go. Like it's done. I don't have to think about it. And so yeah, that when you can and when you can afford to like outsource certain
Yeah.
things, it's crazy because I think as like especially in the art field, like your art is the product. Like so your
That's
brain, you
it.
can't outsource that ever.
Exactly.
So then it's
Yeah.
about finding the parts that you can. And for me, in true Capricorn fashion, I'm like, I must control everything. And my husband's like,
Uh-huh.
well, what if you didn't though? And I'm like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. um, but also just like, well, I don't know where I'm gonna get the money to do that. Cause like
Yeah.
it's that like weird like precipice of business of like if I do this I could completely destroy my life, or it could free me up to actually make more money because I've got
Right.
somebody else doing these things and freeing up my time to do the part that I
Yes.
need to do.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
I know. I just recently got on, like I would hire, this is how I'm linking this thought to what you were saying. So I just finally got on the Reels bandwagon a
mm,
little bit on
hmm,
Instagram, and it's like I pushed against it for so long. I was, I'm not taking videos. I'm not like, I want to make art. I don't want to make reels, like learn video editing.
seriously.
And so I pushed against it for the longest time, but then finally I recently started just like, taking a few shots of a few pieces of my process.
Hmm.
And I can have the tripod just sitting there so that my phone can get it and whatever. And I've been posting it. And yeah, I've been getting better feedback. So I was like, dang it, now I gotta
I
do
know.
reels. It's a real
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's learn like doing all the things when you're just like want to make art.
Hmm.
Uh, I remember it was like 3 or 4 years ago when I was teaching at that little art school I mentioned in Chicago. I also took one class, and it was an awesome class. It was it was tailored to artists, professional. It was like business skills for professional artists.
Oh.
Because and it was so interesting because it was a cool mix of people, like different ages and like a lot of professional artists,
Hmm.
varying, durations. But what a comment I heard from so many of them, especially ones that got their fine art degrees, like they were like, we never like they never teach this in art school. Like this isn't part of the curriculum. So it was things like, how to craft your artist statement, how to build a website, how to network, how to price your work, how to like it was so much of really practical stuff that I was very blessed to have this person as a mentor.
Yeah.
But I remember her saying, because she was like, in addition to being a teacher, which is something many artists do,
Hmm.
like which I do too. Um, she's like, it's the only career where this is really expected of you to have to like wear all these hats.
Hmm.
And even situations like like, yes, coming into the art world and having my work in gallery shows, in many instances, like you're not getting paid to have your work hang in the show. Like you're paying to ship it there. You're paying in many cases to apply to be in the show. Like I remember taking this class and be like, but how do you make money? Like where does that enter into
Right.
the formula?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
there's a lot of hats you have to wear.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't even think about
Understatement
that.
of the year.
Right. Oh my God. But I didn't even think about that because like it's the same in quilt shows. Like you're paying to enter
Right.
and then you either win prizes or you don't. If you don't win prizes, it's like you've paid all this money to ship your quilt there. Hopefully it makes it safely and makes it back safely
And
because so
that's a
many
whole other
people
thing.
have lost their quilts
Yes.
shipping them to shows. And I'm just like, I would
Yeah.
be fucking devastated.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I can't
Yes.
even
Yes.
imagine like I so yeah, I guess it's the same thing though. It's like you're having your art shown in a gallery or in a quilt show or an art show, whatever. To me, I always thought like, oh, these galleries, they probably like pay for the shipping or like they request your art and da da da. And it's like, I'm like, oh, it's like the same thing. Like I'm just having
Yeah.
this like realization, connecting the dots, but it's
So
just
much of it
crazy.
is. But then the art world is crazy too, because it's like you're trying to figure out how galleries work. And the true answer is they're all so fucking different. Like there's
Yeah.
such a spectrum. There's like the vanity galleries that are more
Hmm.
like, yeah, you pay to have your work shown and they'll do da. But then you
Hmm.
got your blue chip galleries that are doing their like everything's over $100,000. They have like their little collection of artists that they
Hmm.
display, and that they're serving a whole different clientele. And then there's like everything in between. So it's like it's the
Hmm.
Wild West.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy because I think it's like it's not something that could be corporatized like
Hmm.
artists. I mean, in a way, like if you go work for a corporate company and design their
Yeah.
stuff for them, sure, but like art hanging in a gallery can't like how are you going to capital like make that more capitalism? You know what I mean? Like how are you going to
Yeah.
turn that into a corporate thing if the whole idea is that art should be free and people should be able to make what they want and all this stuff and then but then there's also same in the quilting world, the quilting police, like if it's not this, this, and this, it's not a real quilt. It's like, well, I didn't ask you,
Yeah.
so
Well,
not sure why you're
exactly.
chiming in.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And I that mentality is ridiculous to me, the whole quilt police thing.
Yeah.
So
And I'm
yeah.
sure there's art police too, like, well, I wouldn't have painted like that. It's like, well, good thing you didn't then. Like,
Yes. And there were that there were it's a personality type that I feel like they exist everywhere. But it's that sort of like desire to like feel superior
mhm.
to whatever the thing is, especially if it's a popular thing.
Yeah.
To like tear it down a little bit or like talk about why it's not so good. Because then, of
Hmm.
course, that makes you all the more elite and refined. So yeah, I have no time for that
No.
as well. It's just
Yeah.
like I don't know, like coming to a place in my life where like I really, I had to build towards this for sure, but like I don't care what most people think. Like if I look at that person and there's nothing about, you know, I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't sound terrible, but like why would I take criticism from somebody who like I don't respect their authority
Right.
to give me that criticism?
Right.
Like if it were, I don't know, like I'm not going to be torn down by somebody who is just out saying cruel comments when they don't have, like I don't respect their opinion. Like they don't,
Right.
it sounds
Yeah.
terrible. Like
No, it
does
doesn't.
it sound
No,
terrible?
no, it doesn't sound terrible. And I know exactly what you mean because it's like if I give you control or if I give you power to shape what I think about my art and who I am and what I'm doing, then I'm giving away something that is so precious, which is
Yeah,
my own approval, my own
yeah,
acceptance, my own
yeah,
joy and pleasure. Like I didn't make this for you. I made it for me and I'm
right.
just being nice and sharing it. So like
Yeah,
you don't get to I don't like you don't get my energy. My energy is way too
totally.
expensive. It's not for you and you can't afford it. So
Right.
like skedaddle, please. But I
Right.
get what you're saying and it's not bad. I think it's that. It's like if you're going to give your energy to every single person who doesn't like your work, then are you
Yeah,
like it's going to ultimately stop you from creating because you're going to be
exactly.
listening to voices who are telling you that you're wrong.
That's the thing. And like since childhood, and definitely if you like look through my portfolio, you'll see like I've done so many portraits of David Bowie. Like I've got my David Bowie shirt on today and like behind me.
Mhm.
But like since childhood, I've just been mesmerized by him. I remember like talking to like a therapist years ago. It was right after David Bowie died. I remember I
Mm,
mentioned him. And he's like, well, what is it? Like, what is it about him that you like? Or what is it that, attracts you so much to him or means so much about him to you? I was like, and I always liked how he evolved constantly. It was like you never knew like what iteration you were gonna get of him when he did something new. And it was like and he was always working with up and coming people and like he was like a living, breathing part of this mechanism or like the art world.
yeah.
And I remember thinking like for the longest time I had this motto. It was like instead of like the what would Jesus do stickers, it was what would David Bowie do? Because he would be like, because I felt like he would just be like, well, just try it, like try it.
Yeah.
And so now I think I've embraced sort of that mentality where it's like I'll try something. I don't care what people say.
Right.
And if it doesn't mean I won't make a mistake, like sure I might make some terrible stuff, but I'll
Right.
come back around. Like I'll just keep and I think it's important for any artist to have that permission to like keep growing and tweaking and experimenting. And
Yeah.
you can't do those things while simultaneously worrying about what the quilt police are saying
Yeah.
or whoever
Yeah.
wants to have their 2 cents.
Mhm. Yeah. Was there like a turning point in that thought process for you, or has it always just kind of been there for you that like not really giving a hoot what people think, but
Oh no, it definitely is something I had to work towards. I was the most
mm,
shy, like up until my 20s, I would say. I was like just a terribly shy person. But
mm,
over the years, like back when I was still living in Canada, I spent some time doing comedy and that sort of got me out of my shell. And then now doing the radio stuff, it's just sort of like bit by bit, it's worn me down in some ways.
yeah.
Like I just like can't hold that much nervousness or anxiety about putting myself out there anymore.
Mm,
So I think it's just like this it's this culmination of years of yeah, just gradually putting myself out there more bit by bit that sort of numbs me to um sort of criticism a little bit
mhm.
more. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm not that I'm never hurt by something, but I
Right.
mean, I'm not, it's just like, it's not going to affect my decision making at the end of the day, I think is the crux of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a result of getting old. But I
Yeah.
will say, like, and I've told this to so many people, it's like, man, I hope I get to live a really long life because I can't wait. Like, just the trajectory of my own life,
Hmm.
how much less I give a fuck now
Yeah.
than when 20 years ago. I'm like, I can't wait to see me at 95. Like, I'm
Right.
just gonna be the craziest,
I
like,
know.
energetic weirdo.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's something that comes with age, maybe.
I think so. And I think the more life experience you have, and the more, if you're, I will put this caveat in there that like you've got to be willing to look at yourself in the mirror
Yeah,
and know yourself deeply
yeah,
for it to for it to happen, I think. Like
yeah,
because if you never look at yourself in the mirror and go, "Oh shit,"
yeah,
and fix what you don't like or work on what you don't like or what you don't, what's coming back to you from others because like I've I don't know if you ever read the Four Agreements, but just the idea that like everyone around you is a mirror, like we're all mirrors to each
um,
other
uh-huh,
and it's information. Like if some other people's behavior is information about yourself, really, like
got it. Like
which
the way you
sounds
perceive them.
like I'm
Yeah,
perceiving a
yeah,
person a certain way, but it's because that's what I'm seeing. That's what's being reflected back to me because
right.
that's what I see. And where someone else is going to see something completely different in that behavior because they have different life experiences and it's going to reflect something else back to them
Yes,
because I'm not
yes,
them, they're not me, but we are all also mirrors for each other.
yes, yes,
So
yes.
usually like for my experience, like if I'm experiencing some a conflict or just like some discomfort with someone, I have to really look at myself and go, why is this making me so uncomfortable? Like that
Yeah,
person did this and that. I'm like, okay, I'm allowing it to bother me, but why is it bothering me? Like, oh,
right.
it's showing me that I feel this way when this happens, or it's showing me that I don't like this part of myself. And when I see someone else doing it, I'm like, how dare they?
Yes, 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 for
And
sure.
so I think that that part of it, for me at least, really helps me step back and go, I don't have to accept their perspective of me because it's not my perspective of me.
Right. Yeah.
And if I'm truly doing something to harm someone, I, I'm so sorry. Help me make it right. Like, tell me what I need to do, kind of thing. If I don't feel like I've been in the wrong and it's just a misunderstanding, that's a different thing. But it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that really important for me step of being able to look at myself in the mirror and not turn away cringing has
Hmm.
been the most powerful movement in towards that like, oh, I don't have to really care that much what other people think about me. If I'm
Yeah.
harming someone with my behavior in some way, let's have a conversation. Let's figure it out. Like, why am I doing that thing? I don't know. Let me figure it out. Like, but other than that, like what I do doesn't matter to anybody else, shouldn't matter to anybody else.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. On that note, because you had asked about, a specific turning point
Mm,
for me, and hearing you talk about, being able to be happy when you look at yourself in the mirror, that brought up a memory for me. I distinctly remember,
mm,
and this was probably 13, 14 years ago, but I went through a period after I got out of a bad relationship. And it
mm,
was a very hard relationship to leave. And essentially, I made the choice to leave, but that involved sort of really starting over from scratch, like really
mm,
like for with everything.
mhm.
And I remember shortly thereafter, I had this dream, and all it was that it was me in bed, and sort of I went, boop, I flipped out and watched, like I was looking at myself sleeping,
Yeah.
and I was just like satisfied, just happy. It
Oh
was
my
just like this,
God.
like like a profound, like
Like, you did it,
good
girl.
job, like you
Yeah.
did it. And I feel like in some, like psychically anyway, on some
Hmm.
level, that was representative of this, like, but really this time as an adult. where I chose myself, in spite of being nervous about what the future would hold.
Yeah.
So I think that probably was a pretty good turning point, and like
Wow.
choosing the right path for me, even when it's not the easiest path, and that's going to look
Hmm.
different for everybody.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, those little cues that we have that we're doing things right or
Hmm.
in alignment with who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there's like cues and clues all around too, because I think like whatever you want to call it, whether it's a deity or the universe or just yourself, like there are signs if you start getting in tune with yourself, like that show
Mm.
you this is it. This is you're doing it. Like this is the right thing. And like for me, it shows up as deja vu, which is kind
Ah,
of weird.
yeah, yeah, yes.
Like, and it always has, like, even as a kid, I would have heavy moments of just like hours where I just felt like I had been there before.
Yeah, yeah.
And then something happens and I snap out of it. And I'm like, oh, I must have changed my trajectory from that timeline or whatever,
But
explanation I
yes,
have at the time.
totally,
But
totally.
it's like it always feels like when there's something changing, but like in a good way, I'm
Yeah.
like, I have deja vu all the time. I'll just be like, oh my God. Like it
Yes, I remember having a conversation with somebody about deja vu because it's one of those things. Like it's so surreal when it's happening. And
hmm
I haven't had it for a while, I will say. But I went through a period when I did, and my friend was like, "Oh, that's a great sign because it means that like you're on the right trajectory. Like this is the sort of the right path."
hmm
And I was like, "Oh, I like that. I like that
Yeah.
way of understanding it."
Yeah. It used to freak me out as a kid 'cause I'd be like, I'm having such deja vu. And my parents would be like, whatever, like,
Yeah.
okay, weirdo. Um,
Right.
because like what are they supposed to say to that? As like I'm like 9 being like, we've been here before. They're like, no, we haven't. I'm like, I like I feel like I've been here before. And they're like, okay, like what do we do with her? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but what do you do with that
Yeah, yeah.
information? Yeah.
And so now as an adult being able to kind of absorb it and go, oh, like I think that this is the way that my mind and my body knows that I'm doing what I need to be doing to get
Hmm.
myself to wherever I'm supposed to go, whatever that looks like. Like I don't know right now. I thought being 25 was going to be like the epitome of being the coolest girl in the whole world, and I turned 25 and
Right.
I was like, whoa, this is
Oh my
bullshit.
gosh. Yes, yes, yes.
So, and not that I was like in a bad place, but just the ideas that I had held on to as a kid for so long of like, when I turn 25, XYZ, this, and that, like,
Yeah.
and to get there and be like, well, none of that, like, literally none of those things are true.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know what I'm doing,
That
guys.
expectation, that
Yeah.
expectation. There's so much of that. I remember like when all my friends started turning 30, it
Hmm.
was like, oh, I'm supposed to have like the house and the blah,
Oh,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. And it was like, no, that's just not, like, that's not our reality right now. And yeah, just latching onto the idea was just cause for pain.
Yeah, it's wild. And like the grief of kind of like trying to learn how to let those ideas go
Yeah.
because like me, I held on to it so tightly. And then getting to 30, that was a rough year for me. Like that was when I finally
Hmm.
was like, I'm going to therapy. I'm figuring my life out. I'm not repeating, patterns I've had in my life, and whether it's like from other people in my family or patterns I kept repeating. I'm like, I'm not going to do that to myself. I'm not going to do that to my husband. It was just like a rough time, but it's like, yeah, nothing looked like I thought it would. And so I
Mm.
think having having some way to let it out, like art and creating,
Hmm.
is obviously therapeutic. There's tons of studies on it, science. I even had a therapist on the show to talk about it. So I'm just wondering for you, like, is that somewhere that you've been able to like channel those changes and to like push ideas, or is it something completely separate for you?
I mean, like, are you asking sort of like In what way has art been therapeutic for me? Or
Yeah, like
um,
yeah, has it been a therapeutic outlet for you? And like have like the changes you've, I guess as I'm like thinking about this question better, but
yeah.
like yes, how has it been therapeutic for you? And then have you noticed the changes in your art reflecting changes in your life as you've evolved and grown?
I would say yes. I feel like, 'cause I'm 43 now, and sort of, yeah, I've had my fair share of therapy at this point. And it's been great. It's been a great experience. And I would say, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, there is something that has shifted. And part of that is becoming a mom too. That sort of
Mm,
unlocks a whole other thing. But yeah, something during that time, I stopped telling myself that I couldn't do things.
mm,
Like I thought for the longest time that I remember drawing as a kid. I loved drawing. And as a child, it was probably therapeutic because I was very socially awkward. So it was like this thing I could go and do and be quiet
mm-hmm,
and immerse myself in. And so I loved drawing, but then I didn't draw for like 20 years. And I
mm,
remember I would tell myself things like, "Well, I can't draw, or I
mm,
can only draw stick people," and stuff like that, which was true for a time, but it's because I didn't put any effort into drawing.
right.
So it was like these types of like just small ways that I would sort of limit myself, that would show up in my artwork because it comes up as like blocks
Mm-hmm.
or like that feeling like I can't, or being scared of a blank page or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But then actually, I don't know, working through some of that stuff has, yeah, it's just like there's something that's been unlocked, I would say, in my creative process where it's just like a lot more freeing. I don't worry. I've learned enough about my personality to know how I work as an artist, which is not the
Mm-hmm.
same as how so many other artists work.
Sure.
Like for me, I know that I'm like, it seems like I'm almost allergic to like really pre-planning in a lot of detail. Like I really hate that.
Yeah.
So that improv style of if I start with a nugget of
Mm-hmm.
something and allow myself to respond to that initial whatever, if I work in that way and don't force myself through this process where I'm like, you do your micro study and then you blow it up and blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. Like it allows me to make more work. And when I make more work, I can make more better work over time. Even when I make little blips, it's sort
Yeah.
of like it's all learning. So there's something about getting to know myself in a like a psychological level, or
Mm-hmm.
that allowed me to recognize patterns that I could apply in my creative life
Mm-hmm.
that are just happier ways for me to work.
Yeah.
If that I don't know if that makes sense
Yeah.
with.
No, yeah, for sure. Because I think when we try to stuff ourselves, our creative process into someone else's mold, we're doing ourselves a disservice because we're trying to tell ourselves to be someone else, essentially.
Mhm,
When, yeah, like your process is going to look different than some other artists because you're not making the same stuff in the first place.
mhm,
And like you are your own self, your own person, your own brain, your own
mhm,
experiences, and no one else on this planet has that same composition. So like how
mhm,
could anybody else's process work for you?
for sure.
And you're right, like that psychological understanding of who you are, again, it goes back to that like being able to look at yourself in the mirror and know yourself. And it's not about looks. It's not about like I'm
Right.
attractive, I'm unattractive. Like none of that fucking
Yes.
matters. What matters is like can you look into your own eyes, into the depths of who you are as a human, as a soul, and go, yeah, we're okay.
We're good, right?
We're good. And accepting what comes, like as far as like, oh, this is I need my process to look like this so that I can do what I want to do
Yeah.
and stop telling myself I can't. Cause I same way, like I would be like, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah, right.
And literally, like my husband, the ultimate like we can try anything person has been such a voice of just like, why wouldn't you? I'm like, well,
Right.
he's like, I mean, unless you don't want to, that's one thing, but like you can if you want to. And I'm like,
Right.
huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think sometimes having like an external voice to combat your internal voice can also
Yeah.
help. I don't
Yeah.
know, like,
Totally. It's good to yeah, to have that support at home is amazing.
mhm,
I'm really lucky in that way. Like I've got my husband, my son here, and
mhm.
yeah, we're yeah, we've got a good thing going. Like we call us the tripod. But
Nice.
they're all like, I don't know, we have a very nice living situation. Like peacefully we coexist together.
Yeah.
And we're all really respectful of each other's what each of us has to offer the home.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really important to have that
Yeah.
in your life too, that like grounding person to
Yeah.
for shift things for
Yeah.
you.
Be like, am I crazy? It's like, no. And it was the same, like when I was like fed up with teaching, I was just like, this isn't me. This isn't
Yeah,
who I want to be. I feel like
yeah,
I go into that space with the best intentions and I come out feeling like I just failed. I failed my students. I failed myself. I feel like I can't live the healing I'm trying to get through therapy. Then I go back into this environment that puts me back into this
yeah,
mindset of like, whatever it is, like it just wasn't working. And he was like, what about the quilting business? And I was like, what about it? Like it's there. And he's like, just try it. Like just you can quit. You can always go
right.
back to teaching, like if you really
That's
want to.
it.
He's like, you can
Yeah,
always go find a job somewhere else. Like you are a highly educated person. Like
right.
anywhere would be lucky to have you no matter what you decide to do. But what if you just put as much effort and full-time, full-time effort into the quilting business instead of this? Like, would that make you happy? And I was like, I think so, like sobbing.
Right, right.
So I called my mom and I was like, what would you think if I worked with you full time? Because she was mostly running it while I was full time teaching and I would just help out during my breaks and stuff.
Yeah,
And she was like, yeah, that'd be great. And then it was like, it snowballed. It was like, quit teaching and immediately started working. She's like, do you want a break? I was like, no, if I sit around, like, I'll think about it too much and I just need to like do
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I
It's
started our Etsy.
invigorating.
Yeah, started our Etsy page, like started offering like, commission work as far as like making quilts for people instead of just long arming. And with two of us, it was great. And now that it's just me again, or now it's just down to me because I bought out the business from my parents and moved it into my home. And that's what I do when I'm not podcasting. Um,
Yeah,
I'm like scaling back again, having to redefine it and make it my own. And what works for me because I'm definitely a different brain than my mama because she is
right.
like, I don't even know. She runs circles around me sometimes. I'm like, how the fuck do you do it? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
admire her
yeah.
so much because she gets so much stuff done and she's
I
so
know people like
organized.
that.
And yeah. And
It's
so,
incredible.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So then to like, oh, I have to figure out how this works for me now. It's been over a year. Well, actually, on the 13th is going to be the official 1 year of just me owning it.
Uh,
That's crazy. But anyway, like, so not the first long while was just like me trying not to like, or trying to, yeah, trying to figure out like how to make it work for myself and like not compare myself to what my mom was doing because we're just different
sure.
people and like,
Yeah,
and it's starting to smooth out and I'm starting to hone in and be like, okay, I'm not making quilts for people anymore. I'm
yeah,
full up for the rest of this
yeah,
year and that's fine because it's just me and I can't do
yeah,
the part I love, which is the long arming if I'm constantly trying to build quilts. And so
yeah,
in that way, it's very much like I've had to do that myself, but I've also been in an environment that supports that the decisions I make are valid and whatever I think is right. And nobody's going to tell me that I'm being stupid or that I'm like making a bad decision. Like that all lives in my head rent free, but
yes, 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 yes.
it also, I think, like you said, helps to be in a space where everybody kind of coexists and is peaceful and you can walk in and go, here's what I was thinking, but tell me that
Yeah.
I'm wrong or tell me why I'm right or whatever,
Yes.
because they know you enough to say, like, why are you even thinking that way about yourself? Or like, what
Right.
made you question that idea in the first place? Or like, oh, it's a little bit nuts. Like, maybe you should scale that back and think about how you could feasibly do that or whatever. It's like those
Right.
voices, whether it's a partner or a friend or a mentor, like those are so important, especially when you're marketing yourself constantly and trying to
Absolutely.
survive in whatever the chaos is of the economic situation of our country and the world, really. Like, how do we do it all? Nobody
I
knows.
know. I know. I know. And it's so like when you mentioned that you brought it up to your mother moving in from teaching into quilting, at
Hmm.
first I was like, oh no, because I was thinking like my parents, they
Oh,
get so nervous about yeah, just doing it. They're very much the blue collar, like get your pension plan, like, and that's what I like. That was the background when I before I moved to Chicago. I spent the last 10 years of my career working for the BC government as like a property
oh,
appraiser. Like I would
oh,
go inspect houses
yeah.
and you know, do mass appraisals, a lot of like spreadsheets and calculations. And I didn't hate my job. Like I will say it was a pretty decent job. But like you, I also felt that like at the end of the day, I was like, this is not the best use of my skill set.
Hmm.
Like, it was just sort of that I need to do something else. And it's hard because that, you know, depending on, you know, an individual's life situation, if they don't have that support group, like that support at home,
Hmm.
whether it's financial or emotional or both or whatever, it's harder to sort of do that jump off on your own.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yet, yeah, I don't know. It's so, I also think like your partner or your husband said, like if it doesn't work out, like you can go back to what you were doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of, you know, I've been through that period in my life too, where you're like, okay, if like we're gonna give this a go, and if it doesn't work,
Hmm.
then you know I've got these life skills to back me up. And actually, my husband will be going through that in his own time.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's an important question, and so many people just choose that safety. So I'm going to stay in the safe job, and you see them. Like I remember being in the office and seeing like Nadine in accounting that looked like she was just so depressed, and but she was counting down the days to retirement, right? And it's like
Yeah.
I don't want that to be my life.
Right. Well, it's like, yeah, you're like measuring your life in terms of like, you know, your retirement benefits or someone else's goal that they set for you. They decided like this is when you're allowed to live your life finally. It's like
Yeah,
I was just talking about that with one of my best friends. Like she owns a house. She lives alone. Well, she has her dog and she goes to concerts a lot. So music has always been her thing. And that was something she and her dad shared while he was alive. And so it's always been really important to her. And she's like a go-to concert buddy for me too. Cause it's like, I'm like, hey, if my husband doesn't want to go, I'm like, hey, do you want to go to
yeah,
this concert? She's like, hell yeah, let's go. So
yeah,
music is important. And so she was like, I was talking with my financial advisor, just trying to get stuff like kind of squared away. And we're going to work towards, retirement at 55, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I was just looking at everything. And she's like, I spent a ton of money on like concerts this last year. And I was like, yeah, but you're living your life now while you
yeah,
can before you're
yeah,
old and tired and don't
yeah,
have the energy to do the things that you think you'll be able to do when you're still,
yeah,
so when you're
yeah.
65 or whatever. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I kind of thought he was going to be mad at me. And I was like, what would he be mad at you for spending your money for? She was like, I don't know. And
Right.
I was like, that's just like the craziest thing that we just like get ingrained in our brains. Like other people, again, like thinking about what other people are going to think about how we spend our money and our time is like holds us back from so much sometimes. And
Yeah.
that Nadine in accounting is like
Right.
miserable, but she's like, in just 3 more years, if I
Yes.
just stick it out for 3 more years, and that's how it was with teaching, if I had stayed for 2 more years, I could have gotten a bunch of my student loans forgiven, which it just would have been so great. But now that I'm
Hmm.
like, when I like actually looked into it, it would not have made like even the tiniest dent in what I owe. So I'm like, well, it's fine. But I am vested. So like that is one thing
Yeah.
about my state is like the retirement benefits for state employees is actually really good. And so
Oh, good.
because I was vested, I still get that money no matter what. Um, which is nice. It's not a lot, but it's like, well, at least I
Yeah,
know that that's there, you know?
totally.
But yeah, it's just like the what if, like, well, if I just stay or, you know, if I just do this for like a little bit longer, but I was like, I think I will literally not survive it. Like emotionally, mentally, physically, like I was so ill all the time.
Yeah,
I was struggling, even with therapy, struggling so hard. And I was like, this feels wrong. Like to have to
yeah,
fight this hard to do something that isn't even fulfilling right now. Like,
yeah,
and it was an identity shift. I think that's part of moving outside of a career that you've decided is supposed to be your whole life
yeah.
and being like, well, who even am I if I'm not who even am I if I'm not a property
Right.
appraiser, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, was that like a crisis you felt of like stepping out of that?
Well, it was interesting because for me, it happened in tandem with, so like my husband's American and I was born and raised in Canada.
Mm,
And we had been doing a long distance relationship for some time. And so we made the choice that I would come to Chicago instead of him coming to Vancouver. And so when I moved, it very much felt like a clean cut in some ways because it was like
mm,
I'm moving to a new country.
okay.
I have to change my jobs. Like it was like a natural, okay, like we'll try something different now. But I know people here asked me, they were like, are you going to go back into appraisal? And I could have,
Right.
but I was like, oh, I just really didn't want to.
Hmm.
And so, like, just, and it really started like after my son was born, just taking some art classes again.
Yeah.
And then just being like, oh, this feels so good to be here. And then just keep going and then to end up teaching and sort of
Hmm.
that whole trajectory changed.
Yeah.
It felt very natural, but it was a seismic shift. It just all happened sort of at once with that move.
Right. It's like almost like obviously you take yourself with you. So like that doesn't change, but like it almost to me seems like it would be easier to make that shift moving somewhere else because you're like, I could just
Mm-hmm.
leave it there. I don't have to bring it
Mm-hmm.
with me. That can stay
Yeah.
over there. Whereas like
Yeah.
I'm still in the same town. I still frequent places where sometimes I happen to run into people that I used to work with. And I try to
Yeah.
avoid those areas sometimes because I'm like, there's just
Don't
some
want to
people I
deal with
just
it.
don't want to see. But
Yeah.
um yeah, it's just interesting. Like, and I think the days of staying in the same career for your whole life are gone. Like that doesn't really happen anymore. And so
Yeah.
I think that
Well,
shift is
companies like don't take care of their employees the same way that they used to.
no.
So it's like, I've heard a bunch of people moaning and groaning about how people don't want to work anymore, which is ridiculous.
I know.
But it's also like they're not yeah, taking care of their employees. Like
Right.
they're not given health care, they're not given, a pension, they're not like they're struggling. You hear about these people working full time, yet they still qualify for the food bank. It's like that shouldn't how can you work full time? Like how is that company able to pay you enough so little that you still have to like
Hmm.
use up these exterior resources even though you're fully employed? Like that's just
Hmm.
like that greed is like yeah the greed has made it so that we can't or like people don't just stay in one career anymore. Like you gotta sort of work your way
Right.
out somehow or like
Yeah. Yeah. Like
into like
jump
a
ship.
good yeah find a
Yeah.
good little place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, that whole like, oh, people just don't want to work anymore. It's like, no, they just don't want to work for less than livable wages. They don't want to work
Exactly.
for no benefits. They
Yeah.
don't want to work for, being mistreated and expected to
Yeah.
literally like give up their entire livelihoods outside of
Yeah.
work to be here.
Exa-
It's
exactly.
like the expectation of employers is absolutely ridiculous. Who would want to do that? Like,
Yeah.
it's like that has to shift if you want people to want to work. Like,
Hmm.
Like, oh, this place, they're closing down. It's like, ugh, I hear my grandparents talk about it all the time. I'm like, hey, shut up. Like, um, and it's just, old people perspective because they've been
Yeah.
very conservative and lucky in their career choices and the money situation and
Like they could save and put stuff away. Like it was
right.
different.
Right. It's like you didn't have these same struggles. Like you didn't have the hurdles of like, yeah, my grandpa went to college, but he also like you guys had it paid for. Like it was paid for while you were going because it wasn't that expensive. Like now I owe $100,000 for an undergrad and a master's degree because
Exactly.
there was no money for me. I was
Yeah.
not poor enough. I was not smart enough, and there were no scholarships for me. And I'm too
Yeah.
white. There
Yeah.
there were no scholarships for me. So
Yeah.
like there would have been if my dad didn't start college before I started college. Because then I would have been like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a first in my family. No,
Oh, yeah.
my dad
Yeah.
graduated the year before I did.
Wow.
But anyway, so yeah, it's just interesting how things shift. And I do love like getting to exist in the time of social media, like as shitty as it can be. It's also brought me so much more perspective on the world. It has brought me so much
Mm.
more perspective on like art and myself in it and other people in it and what it means and how important it is. And I never would have been exposed to even half of what I've seen and experienced if I didn't have social media to show it to me.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
so I love it for that fact and like the fact that we could connect because I don't, how else would I have found you? I don't
I
know.
know.
Like,
I know.
but the
Totally.
moment
You're
I saw your
right.
art, I was like, oh,
Oh, thank you.
flew out of my seat. I was like, I can't understand this. It's so beautiful. And of
Thank you so much.
course, so I, it's just been a cool space to be a part of. But also, like you said, with like, I don't want to jump on the Reels bandwagon. But then it's like, well, you have to. And oh no, I have more engagement
I
now.
know more
Crap
stuff to do.
at work. And
Yes.
but yeah, now it's like another thing to do. But it's like, well, if I want to survive in this and I want to do
I know.
what I want to do, then I have to.
I know. I know. And it is me. I'm not hiring it out yet.
I'm not either yet.
One day. One day.
I think it'll have a definite like shift. People will notice if I hire out my social
Yes.
media management because
Yes.
I am so chaotic with it that like if it's
The
very
quality will
suddenly
go
like
up.
consistent, high quality, people are
Yeah.
gonna be like, what happened? And I'm gonna be like,
Exactly.
I gave it to somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh. But anyway, well, I have just loved chatting with you and getting to know you and learning more about your art process and
Thank
just
you so much. It was such a nice chat.
yeah. But before we go, do you have a tip or piece of advice to give to the listeners? Not that you haven't already shared so many great things.
I would just say, like no matter where you are in your life, just follow your curiosity, like
Mm,
wherever that's leading you. It, I remember for me, I'm one of these people that I like to have my fingers in lots of pies.
hmm
And I'd always get told, like, just stick with one thing, like you'll do so much better. Just stick with one thing. And I developed an internal shame about I if I just stuck with playing the guitar, like how good would I be now?
hmm
So like what I this is something I've shed over the years, which I hope can help other people, is just like don't worry about any of that. Just follow your curiosity.
Yeah.
Because if you just trust that whatever is most interesting to you right now, whether it's quilting or listening to a certain album over and over, or learning embroidery or whatever it is, painting, I have found that like when I kind of zoom out on my life a little bit and take a step back, all those little curiosities that I had and I, engaged with separately, they all end up kind of coming back together and like melting together in a new and interesting way that is just something that purely Sarah can make,
hmm
or Io the alien.
hmm
And so I feel like that's I'm sure that would apply to most people. Like whatever those like little curiosities that you have, do like explore that and don't
Yeah.
worry about where it leads, because it always works its way back somewhere.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's one thing that I noticed, like, as a teacher, like, teaching kids is they're so curious and we kill it. Like, and I felt like
Hmm.
I think that was part of, like, feeling the heaviness of, like, not wanting to really be a teacher anymore is, like, the way that we school our children kills their curiosity,
Yeah.
turns them into good little worker bees, right? And so
Right. Yes.
I just
My, uh,
yeah. Mhm.
I could say like I could talk to you about a whole hour about that, but
Yeah. Yeah, same. Yeah. But
but yes, yeah,
it
I
feels
agree with you.
indulgent as adults. Like, I'm curious about this
Yeah.
thing. It's like, yeah, indulge it because, like, you're born with a curious brain. That's how you
Yeah.
learn to walk and talk, and you learn how the world works so that you can function within it. So, like, lean into it because
Yeah.
that's your natural state.
Yeah, we've really done a disservice by like doing that. Like, hey, sit in your desk and like you've got to do this thing, and it's
Hmm.
you can't go outside and play. Yeah, I know. So much of that is like undoing all that damage as an adult. So yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, Sarah, it has been an absolute pleasure. If anybody wants to find you online, where can they go?
My website is iothealien.com, and I'm on Instagram at iothealien. And yeah, I'm not on the TikTok or the YouTubes yet.
Okay.
But I'm in those other places. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'll put links in the show notes so people can get to you. And other than that, I can't wait to see what is more to come. You've got big news coming, you said, for 2026. So we'll keep an eye on
Yes.
that as well.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yes.
that's exciting. And also for people in the Chicago area, where can they listen to your radio show?
Yeah. So actually, no matter where you are, you can tune in at chirpradio.org. Chirp stands for Chicago Independent Radio Project.
Okay.
I am on live on Saturday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m., and that's
Ooh,
Chicago time, CST. However, you can also listen online. If you go to the DJ schedule, you can find me there on Saturdays. You can hear my old shows. If you are local, it's 107.1 FM on the dial. And
okay.
yeah, there's no commercials. It's awesome.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I can't wait to listen because I'm a big music girl too. So
Oh yeah, no, it's good stuff.
yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a real treat.